Picture this. The world has been taken over by a deadly virus, and humanity is stuck at home, isolating to prevent the spread of said deadly virus. You don't have to picture this because it's already happening, and all of us depressed teenagers and young adults alike are losing our minds doing nothing but eating and making TikToks. Actually, that last eating part might just be me, but you get the picture. So what are we to do during lockdown to maintain the little bit of sanity that we have remaining? Well, we play games, and therefore you want a computer to play games on. But, oh no, the virus, he who shall not be named, and the scum of the earth crypto miners using PC hardware have caused the prices of desktop hardware to skyrocket. So you turn to gaming laptops with the intention of playing games on the same device you're going to use for online school. Ergo, you turn to this video to help you pick a great all-round laptop that suits all your needs. Hello from 6 feet away, I am Riptide with Killswitch Gaming, here to help you pick a great laptop to play do your assignments on. For this video, we're going to discuss laptops within the range of 150 to 200,000 Sri Lankan rupees, which is roughly 800 to 1,000 United States dollars, with an exchange rate of $1 being equal to 197 Sri Lankan rupees. Towards the end, we'll see what can be done for the broke as fuck category, where we'll attempt to pick a laptop between 85,000 and 100,000 Sri Lankan rupees. Oh, and don't worry. For those of you not from Sri Lanka, I will mention a few great laptops from online retailers such as Amazon or Newegg. Keep in mind that a lot of these laptops may need a storage upgrade to include a 1TB hard drive, as most of these laptops tend to come only with a 256GB SSD. Also, keep in mind that your worst enemy is going to be stock levels, thanks to he who shall not be named. The stock levels of a lot of electronic items will be low, so keep looking even if your preferred store is out of stock. The first laptop in no particular order is the MSI GF63 Thin 10SC i5 10th Gen with GTX 1650. That was a mouthful. Starting off with a well-known brand, this laptop is an all-round amazing laptop that can be had for anywhere between 175 to 180,000 Sri Lankan rupees. Do keep in mind that this laptop also comes in a 9th Gen i5 model, which is older, but still performs amazingly well, and is the model that our very own Loki uses. So if the model that your shop has is a 9th Gen i5, it opens up the chance for you to bargain the price around a little bit, down to about 165,000 Sri Lankan rupees, simply because it is an older model. With that being said, this laptop comes with a NVIDIA GTX 1650, 8GB of RAM, and a Core i5, which is a really good combination of hardware. Keep in mind that the storage configuration tends to change from store to store, so that is something to look out for. In addition to that, you may want to upgrade the RAM to 16GB, although 8GB is still perfectly fine for games such as Apex Legends, Fortnite, and Valorant at 1080p. Some strong points with this laptop include a very good display and the fact that it's light compared to the other laptops in this category. It's also, overall, a very handsome laptop. However, there are two main points that are negative with this. The trackpad is small, and even though the keyboard itself is pretty good, it only has a red backlight. Something that needs to be pointed out if your parents need convincing is that it has a pretty good 720p webcam that is good enough for your online school Zoom or Teams calls. Also, the microphone supported by Nahimic is subpar at best, but not terrible. All in all, this makes the MSI GF63 Thin a very convincing package for both gaming and school. Next up is Dell's 3500 G3 Gaming that comes with a 10th Gen Core i5, a GTX 1650, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 120Hz 1080p screen, all for 180 to 185,000 Sri Lankan rupees. Keep in mind that the storage config may change between stores. Something that Dell's laptops are known for are good keyboards and trackpads, and the Dell 3500 G3 Gaming does not disappoint. However, all the models that I looked at did not have backlit keyboards, and the speakers are average according to reviews. Unfortunately, I'm unable to tell you how good the webcam and the microphone is because we don't have this laptop in hand, so the parent convincing factor is down a notch. But in this day and age, most laptop webcams and microphones are sufficient for online meetings. However, everything considered, this has to be the most complete gaming laptop package that I came across in Sri Lanka. Keep in mind that you are getting a 120Hz screen with this model, which is a rare occurrence at this price point in Sri Lanka. The performance difference between the MSI GF63 Thin and the Dell 3500 G3 Gaming is very minimal since they have the same configuration in terms of hardware. So go as you please. Next up are a few laptops that unfortunately were over the 200,000 Sri Lankan rupee budget by a few thousand rupees. So this is for you if you can spare the extra change. TUF Gaming F15 FX506L that comes with a 10th Gen Core i5, a GTX 1650 Ti, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 144Hz 1080p screen. Again, be wary of the storage config as it may change from store to store. TUF is Asus's budget gaming lineup and also features some desktop hardware such as motherboards and graphics cards. Just because it's considered budget doesn't mean it's low quality. In fact, Asus's TUF lineup has some of the best quality hardware out there, and the TUF Gaming F15 FX506L is no stranger to this fact. The TUF Gaming F15 has an aluminum keyboard deck which houses a pretty average RGB backlit keyboard, below which you can find a decent but small touchpad. The TUF Gaming F15 is pretty heavy for its size, coming in at 2.3 kilograms. Although heavy, you can expect good cooling, with it keeping the CPU and GPU under 80 degrees with turbo mode enabled. Another cost-cutting measure that Asus has taken is the display. Although the display is indeed 144Hz, the color accuracy and the pixel response time suffers, which is not desirable for content consumption, but should mostly be adequate for gaming. And all of this could be had for around 205,000 Sri Lankan rupees, give or take a few thousand rupees. Next up is a laptop you probably didn't see coming. This is the MSI Bravo 15, kitted with the Ryzen 7 4800H, RX 5500M, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 144Hz 1080p screen. Again, as always, keep an eye out for the storage config. This has to be the best laptop that I came across in Sri Lanka for this price, period, as it is the only offering that comes with a 4000 series laptop Ryzen 7 that has 8 cores and 16 threads. The RX 5500M, although far from the norm, manages to split out plenty of frames onto the very much above average 144Hz display. Yet again, we have another MSI laptop that has a very good keyboard that's only backlit in red. In addition to that, it was noted by the YouTube channel Hardware Canucks that the touchpad was mounted poorly, with it depressing twice when pressed, much like me. However, it tracks well and has support for Windows Precision touchpad drivers, which, in my opinion, is a huge plus. Parental convincing factors include a decent 720p webcam and a clear yet compressed onboard microphone, and a very good and crisp keyboard for taking down your teacher's notes. All of this could be yours for between 209 and 215,000 Sri Lankan rupees. Keep in mind that if you do photo and video editing in addition to gaming, this is the laptop for you. You may need to connect an external display, however, since the color accuracy may not be where you need it to be. We have some recommendations for people outside of Sri Lanka, for whom we are recommending you look at Amazon and Newegg for laptops, where we'll be focusing on a price between 800 and 1,000 United States dollars. Since online retailers tend to have hundreds of variants of the same laptop model, we're not going to be mentioning any specific model. Instead, we'll mention a laptop make, and you can see which model suits you best. For starters, we have the HP Pavilion Gaming F15 laptop, and is a model that yours truly uses. This laptop comes in both Intel and AMD variants, and the cooling performance will vary accordingly, with the Intel variants running a little bit warmer than the AMD variants. These mostly come in a color HP likes to call Shadow Black, and the keyboard is backlit in a color HP has lovingly named Acid Green. Speaking of the keyboard, it is very good, with a satisfying tactile feel and a short travel distance. Below the acid green keyboard, you will find a very small but accurate touchpad that gets the job done when there's no mouse connected. Above the keyboard are upward firing speakers that have been tuned by Bang & Olufsen, and to my ears, these sound really good. They have some bass, but not a lot since they're laptop speakers. More than anything, they're very crisp and very clear. Above the speakers is a display that, in my opinion, is the biggest letdown of this laptop. The colors are not accurate and have not been calibrated from the factory, with it having a very obvious green tint. Fret not, however, this can mostly be corrected via the onboard Radeon graphics settings. The model that I got came kitted with a Ryzen 5 4600H 6-core CPU and a GTX 1650 Ti GPU, and gave me pretty good battery life. I didn't measure this, but for a gaming laptop, it felt great, with it easily lasting my entire 8 AM to 6 PM uni day on a single charge. During this time, it was on battery saver mode and was always connected to Wi-Fi, and had Google Chrome running in the background pretty much all the time. Parental convincing factors include a decent 720p webcam that weirdly had some sort of skin smoothing enabled. And the microphone is clear, although there was some compression that I could hear. In addition to that, the keyboard, as mentioned before, is great, and I got up to my full typing speed just after a few hours of typing. Next up is the ever-popular Acer Nitro 5. These almost entirely come with Intel CPUs, and I've only ever seen a single AMD CPU listing on Newegg for the Acer Nitro 5. With that being said, cooling is decent, and you can expect the CPU and GPU to stay under 85 Celsius while gaming with turbo mode enabled. Keep in mind that with turbo mode enabled, the fans do get fairly loud, although this won't be a concern if you wear headphones while gaming. The display is decent, and I didn't notice any color shifts and had fairly deep blacks, which makes it suitable for content consumption, at least in the model I had. Keep in mind that some models come with a 144Hz 1080p display. You may want to watch a few specific reviews for the exact model you have in mind, as Acer has been known to make significant changes between generations of the same laptop, where certain changes may be a deal breaker. The keyboards are average at best, with the force required to press the key being somewhat high on some models, which may get uncomfortable after a while of typing. Some models come with a 4-zone RGB backlit keyboard, whereas some of the cheaper models come with a single-zone red backlit keyboard. The trackpad was nothing exceptional and simply got the job done. Last but not least is MSI's GF series, which is an amazing little kit that's great for gaming, content consumption, and school. Fun fact, our very own Loki uses this for all of the above, as well as video rendering. Starting with the display, most models come with a 60Hz 1080p display, but the display felt weirdly smooth, even though it's still 60Hz when I played Apex Legends on it. Speaking of Apex Legends, maybe check out some of the shots that we have uploaded? A card for that playlist will appear now. Back to topic, the color accuracy is good enough for watching movies, as it also produces deep enough blacks. The trackpad is small, and has the same double depress issue that the MSI Bravo 15 had, but it tracks well and gets the job done when there's no mouse. The keyboard is average, but has a nice tactile feel to it, which I personally prefer for gaming. However, every model I came across in the 800 to 1000 USD price bracket came with a single zone red backlit keyboard. Thermals are pretty good, with Loki's model, which contains a 9th Gen Core i5 and a GTX 1650, being under 70 Celsius under a gaming load, with the gaming profile enabled. Keep in mind that the fans do get loud when gaming. Battery life is very much subpar, so don't go anywhere without the charger. But battery life aside, the laptop is relatively light, making it very portable, and the power brick itself is not very heavy, so the portability remains. Parental convincing factors include a really good webcam and a subpar microphone that's supported by Nahimic, so your teachers can hear and see you clearly when you yell out the wrong answer in an online class. No? Just me? Alright then. And finally, we come to the gamer that has to eat instant ramen for 3 meals a day just to get by. Introducing the broke as fuck gamer. For this tier, we're targeting a price bracket of between 85,000 and 100,000 Sri Lankan rupees. If you were looking forward to this tier, you don't get the privilege of being picky about what you get. Sadly though, this tier is only for the broke Sri Lankan gamer, although the tips can be put to use by any and all. First off, we do need to get some disclaimers out of the way. Don't expect to be able to buy a new laptop with this budget, and don't expect to get blazing frame rates on the latest AAA titles. For the Sri Lankan gamer, you'll want a used laptop that contains at least an Intel Core i5 CPU with either an NVIDIA MX130 or 940MX GPU or better. We checked Ikman.lk for this segment and we found a few laptops that were close to the 100,000 LKR budget, with the CPUs and GPUs we mentioned above. The MX130 and the 940MX are almost the same, with the MX130 being slightly faster and newer than the 940MX. Oh, and you'll mostly be playing either CSGO or Valorant at over 60 FPS at 1080p low settings with the MX130, and the same games at 720p over 70 FPS at medium to high settings on the 940MX. If you are looking to play any other games, it's mostly going to be single-player cinematic games such as Tomb Raider that'll work just fine and look good even at 30 FPS on low settings. Here's a pro tip, by the way: look for Acer Aspire laptops, as they'll most likely contain the GPU and CPU you're looking for. Plus, they're built really well, so even used laptops should be decent. For anyone outside Sri Lanka, you should look for the same on websites such as Craigslist, Gumtree, or even Facebook Marketplace. But whatever you do, make sure you're not being swindled of your hard-earned money during these tough times. So buy from reputed sellers and double check that everything is working the way it should be before you buy it. Also, since these are used products, look for cosmetic flaws that are not deal breakers that can be used as bargaining chips to reduce the price. However, if you're unable to find a laptop to the specs that are mentioned above, you may want to try and build a desktop PC for this price. But that's for another video. So with that being said, be safe, wear a mask, and happy hunting.